So this is Rachel Welborn with the Southern Rural Development Center. Got a couple of my colleagues here at the center also joining us. Miranda and Matt are here with the center, and so we're thankful for our team. And it is our pleasure to introduce Susan Jakes and Cynthia Aguilera from North Carolina State University. They are going to be presenting some information that ties how connecting community resources can improve the health and safety of farm workers. And so I don't want to take any more of their time. Ladies, I will turn it over to you, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We are excited to talk about this program. Rachel offered the opportunity to talk about a community development topic. I'm the community development program leader here in North Carolina, and this has been a whole new kind of avenue of work for me, and this partnership with Cynthia, who's also on our community development team here in North Carolina, and also partnership with several different funders we'll probably talk about before we're all done. But originally this program started because Philip Morris came to us and said, we want to do rural development. And I had lots of ideas of what that might mean. But as we had more and more conversations with them, we realized what they really wanted to do was farm worker training and help improve the lives of farm workers and improve rural development through kind of the medium of farm workers, which would also improve their whole kind of tobacco economies that they're trying to, always seek to maintain and improve if possible in the Southeast. So that's how this farm worker program came to be. And Cynthia will explain, kind of go through what our goals are and how it might be different than other farm worker training that's happening around the country, and kind of what the response to that has been, because it's not just worker training, it's community development. And so how we understand that difference, how people have responded to that difference, and how it's working in our communities in North Carolina. So let's just have a little moment of introduction. So if you have offered, developed, or supported farm worker targeted programs, Rachel's going to launch a poll for me. Just mark yes when it comes up. Oh, here we go. So mark yes if you've worked in farm worker programs, and no if you have not. Okay, so looks like one person has, and I clicked end poll. There it goes. And so if you have, for the person that has worked in farm worker programs, what was the main content of the program that was offered? If you can just type that in your chat box. Tractor safety, okay, ATV safety. We've had a lot of requests for machinery safety in our programs too. We haven't covered that yet, kind of in a structured way in our programs in North Carolina, but sounds like, Krista, we could call you if we want to incorporate some of that into the work that we're doing. Oops. So why is this work critical to North Carolina Cooperative Extension? A really large part, 17% of our income comes from agriculture and agribusiness industry. You hear kind of 2% cited as we're 2% agrarian or 2% agriculture, but in North Carolina, it's a huge part of our economy. Particularly in tobacco, we're the #1 tobacco producer in the country. And we're 6th in the total number of farm workers. So we're 1st in the country in those farm workers holding H-2A visas. So this is really important to the whole economy of North Carolina. And secondly, it's really important to the farm workers. So in one day, a tobacco farm worker can absorb the amount of nicotine found in how many cigarettes? So Rachel's going to launch another poll for me. Here we go. So just mark your answer. If you think it's in one day, a tobacco farmer can absorb the amount of nicotine in 3, 12, 36, or 98 cigarettes. And this is a worker working in the field. Okay, so 2 of you said 3, and 1 of you said 12. And the correct answer, where'd it go, is 36. So a farm worker in the field, particularly with wet tobacco, can absorb nicotine of up to 36 cigarettes. So this is a huge public health concern for our farm workers in North Carolina. We really want them to be healthy and safe in their work. Agriculture is an extremely dangerous job, and so a lot of our work is in increasing the safety of our workers. The other issue is that farm workers are a really vulnerable group. So they're not making a lot of money. They may make a lot of money during the 3 months that they're working in tobacco and that sort of thing, but then that has to tie them over for the rest of the year. So their average income annually is between $10,000 and $12,500. And they have very limited access to benefits with that. So very limited access to health care with that. So we've also kind of partnered with other organizations to bring in dental care or to get them partnered with the local health clinics. They're also exposed to risk factors. So pesticides, harmful weather. In Eastern North Carolina, we do mostly heat stress training, but in Western North Carolina, we do cold stress training. And in tobacco, they're exposed to nicotine. In other forms, they might be, and there's also things like machinery safety. In tobacco, it's mostly tractors, forklifts, that sort of thing. In Western North Carolina, we've also done work on Christmas trees, which putting a Christmas tree through a cutter bagger every 6 seconds is extremely dangerous. And there's also mental health. So with all of these other risk factors, the hours that are per day and just the stress of being away from family sometimes, having poor and inadequate housing, not having much power, on how their work is structured, whether they're H-2A visas or not, depression, anxiety are often issues, and other mental health concerns. An additional stressor are cultural and language differences. So 75% of all farm workers in the U.S. are born in Mexico, and 2% are born in Central America. 81% are Spanish speaking, and others speak an indigenous language. So again, that's an issue of power, of communication, of ability to access resources in your community, is your ability to speak the language of the community in which you live. It's really important. And another side of this coin is also the farm operators. The farm operators and their families are also exposed to stress. So they have to deal with uncontrollable weather, exposure to pesticides, the crop prices, varying, or the community not accepting the crop prices that will help them be in the black. So debt, machinery breakdowns. So all of these things are also stressing our farmers. And this is an important component of our program has also been to include the farmers themselves in our trainings. Cynthia's going to talk more about that. Actually, I'm going to let you go ahead and start now because we can talk about kind of the shifting regulations that are happening, why this is an important part of our program and an important time to be doing this program now. So this is Cynthia Aguilera, a co-worker of mine here at North Carolina State and our Latino facilitator for Extension.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, everybody. Happy to be here. I think before we go into this slide, I want to add a little bit of the why we are so proud of the model that we had developed here in North Carolina. For those of you that are familiar with, with agriculture and farming, and so usually when we think about training or educational opportunities, or even at the political level or economic level, is kind of sometimes the agencies or programs that that exist. They either go to war either with the grower or support the grower or the crew leader. Or the worker. At least this is in North Carolina. I think that's the dynamic. Again, there are public organization, nonprofit organization that they target these two groups, but separately. The thing that we are bringing here to the table and what make this program really important for extension and for community development is that our goal is make the connection with these two groups, but also with the community. 17 years ago, I changed my career. I used to be a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, and I started working with Migrant Education, which is a K-12 educational program for the children of farm workers. It's funded from the Department of Education. Anyhow, that's how I started learning the reality of farm workers. But anyhow, from that moment, what I saw that is just how divided the group, the stakeholders are, or the programs are. And how, when I remember seeing about reaching out for these workers or education opportunities for the workers, it is that I always, in my funny English, I always say it's like chasing workers or trying to find them. It's kind of going to contact them during the nighttime, hiding in one way from the grower or from the employer. That type of practices that had characterized the outreach for farm workers. So we think that shouldn't be, or we can offer a different model. We can offer a model where there is really a connection between the employer, then most of the cases is the grower, of course, and then the worker, and then the community. So that's the fundamentals of our program is creating or building that connection. So it is not anymore about working separately or having to, sell the program to the worker or the employer, but working together. That is, again, the foundation. Another big factor or issue that is happening, for those of you that are not aware, is that EPA has new regulations that are going to be effective next year. And the part that related to workers' protection standards is a big change, because up to the current regulation requires training every 5 years. Well, now it's going to be every year. So as you can imagine, and again, if you are not familiar with this, is the most fear around this is pretty, a lot of concerns, a lot of tension, and a lot of anxiety, because, employers know that they had to submit or provide that training, but some of them don't know how to. Anyhow, so it's just changing the way that we had doing it. So we are really happy here in North Carolina that extension is becoming a resource for these growers in training. So here is we go. This is the next one, please. This is the model of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Farm Workers Health and Safety Program model. As you can see in the first graph in the box on my right is we have a team that is composed of our lead principal investigator, which is Susan, and then we have myself included, and then we hired an educator, and this is a grant funder at this moment. And then we work closely with Extension County Director and Agriculture Agent. Without them, I think it will be more difficult. And again, that's another really big thing, that we are really bringing the Extension Director, the Extension Office, and Agriculture Agent in the picture in a very active role. So our job, or our team, the idea is that we connect, like we would say, the farmers, farm workers, and families with the community. How do we do that? Everybody had a different role, but in making that connection, what we do is provide a health and safety training. And Susan mentioned is about WPS, Workers' Protection Standards, because we made the requirements of EPA. We also is focusing on pesticide safety, heat stress, but also tobacco, green tobacco illness, but any other war-related issues that can be affecting. For example, machinery has been one of the issues that we have been asking to help with. But even in some cases, we had heard from the growers to tell us, asking us if we can add a little bit of no alcohol use or drugs use, that type of thing. So we accommodate to that. And then that training, again, is one of the pieces, but then the idea is educate and empower the workers. We just don't want, this is not just a program to check the box that, the training was provided. What we want is that we are looking for behavior change. Again, so that's why and you will see the material that we use is very hands-on. We know there's only 90 minutes of training, but we hope that we'll raise awareness and provide information that eventually will take to an active behavior change. Identify those farm workers leaders is crucial, because we continue the communication with them after the training. Then another big component is that we train not only the farm worker, but also the community. We have family events for the families of farm workers, but also we do community events to educate the community on how important for all of us to take care of the health of farm workers. And if you think about extension and what we're Ruth with 4-H, this is crucial because, there could be the children of farm workers telling the parents, hey, you remember to be safe today, is going to be very hot and things like that. So that's why it's very important to educate the community or bring them to the table. We also, a big piece is that creating that networking or partnership with the community. Because going back to the idea that there are many organizations, public and private and profit organizations, that they have resources for farm workers, but there is not always sometimes the issue, or how can I get in contact, how can I reach out to them, or which group do you belong to, the growers or the worker, like I was saying earlier. So our goal here is to, instead of create again the division, is how can we work together. So we do create in the areas where we are farm workers partners coalition. So it's a networking event. And then actually as part of this coalition, we had a farm worker festival, which was again informing the workers of the programs available, and it was also entertainment activity, and we will talk about that later. And then the part that Susan said, that promoting mental health is fun. And when we say mental health, we just focus on the basic things about, try to sleep well, eat well, sleep well, eat well, don't drink, that type of thing is what we try to promote. So in regards to the goals, I'm not going to go in details on this because I think I already said it, but you see, number one is mainly focus about communication. Again, the communication between these three parts are so broken in some cases, or have been broken, that we want to restore that communication. In all our trainings, the grower is actually there, which is really good. So sometimes he hears from the growers things that they never heard before, because they depend sometimes on the crew leader of that person who is bilingual. So again, communication is a key factor here. Then, of course, we provide health and safety training. We already said that. We also have become a resource for growers, especially we think now with as I was saying, with the EPA requirements, and here in North Carolina, we have the tobacco grab requirements too. Then the other goals include promote the development of the stakeholders networking, as I think I talked a little bit about that. And then another important piece is connecting the farm workers and their families with other extension resources. In one county that we are working, Wayne County, we have other grant funded programs for Latino that are actually part of the co-developers One is to prevent high school dropout for Latino students and promote higher education. So we are, the name of that program is Juntos, so Together for a Better Education. So some of our families, the farm worker families that we train on health and safety, are now also participating in this other program. And also they participate in, or at least they receive information about the FNET or SNAP Ed program. So that is also crucial for the growth of extension in engaging with Latinos. And then the other part is that what we are doing after 3 years, this is our 3rd year with this grant, we identify what are the good practices for implementing. So now we want to extend it and bring more people within North Carolina and outside aboard to, to promote this program. So the training material, maybe before I continue with this, because I think we haven't said it, this is, at this moment, we have the program in 3 counties. This is a grant funded at this moment. So most of the grant is to hire an educator. I think we'll say be educator / outreach person. Because that person, what they do is that we have and achieve, but what they do is be sure that the goals that we talk about are going to be met. So they're the one that making that connection with the grower, with the crew leader, with the workers. They're the one that provide the training, and they're the one that making the development, educating the communities, and all that. We have, like I said, Luis is in 1 county, Veronica is in 2 counties. One of the counties, Luis, is mostly tobacco, but we include other crops. Like we do sweet potatoes, cucumber, and then in the other 2 counties, which is in the western part of the state, is Christmas trees. So it's very interesting that part. This educator is hired by NC State here in Raleigh, but they are housed in an extension center. And like we were saying earlier, the partnership with the local extension center has been wonderful. The agriculture agent and the county director, again, have been key partners, because they were the one who actually connected the educator with the growers in the early stages, and then we took from there. The training material, we just to confirm that the material covers the element, the 11 concepts that are required by WPS. This is EPA requirements. Part of the regulations for next year with the new regulation is that there are going to be 23 concepts that are going to be required. One of the main things that they are stressing is the safety on taking pesticides home. Kind of what to do, the workers, how they need to, what type of behavior they need to have so they don't bring pesticide or any other risk to the families when they go home. And then the Good Agricultural Practices Program, which also required training for the workers. So our material, the next one. For what is pesticides and farm worker health, we use a toolkit that was developed here by North Carolina. Catherine LeProvos and Julia Storm, they developed this material, I think 5 years ago, and it's approved by EPA. And as you can see, it had different, the pictures show different materials because it's very interactive. All that we do different demonstrations, hands-on activities. We go from charades, so how to identify symptoms, but also for them to identify what is the toxicity of some chemicals used. Also, by the way, our educator is to be bilingual, because the training that we provide is in Spanish, because as Susan mentioned, most of the 90+% of the workers in North Carolina are Mexico, other Latin American countries. Another interesting thing that we mentioned is that our training is planned or scheduled in partnership, like we said, or coordination with the grower. The training takes place in the farm, and is lasts 90 minutes, and the workers are being paid while they are being trained. So that's, and again, another When we think about, I was mentioning earlier, the chasing the workers to train them, it's not the case here. They are usually in a warehouse setting or in any in a shelf, in a building. So they don't have to be outside even with color, with hats or weather. This is the Proyecto Sol is the curriculum that we use for heat stress. It's also very interactive. It complements a lot of the one, the Toolkit for pesticide safety, and this one, they had very common issues, so we just complemented both. And then for this is the material from the Department of Labor here in North Carolina. That is what we use for tobacco sickness. We also have activities hands-on for this. And then for the family, we use this, it's a curriculum that being developed by another organization, AFOB, and is to target children, but this is the one that we use for when we go to community. We can send you the Griso. We are going to send you the link for the toolkit. They have this one is a material that when you send you the link, you can see the description, what is available, and also how to order that. Right. And this the Jose Aprende is a very basic, and you can see even the pictures are very basic, but this is just the story of this child Jose, whose parents are farm workers. So it's like a storytelling activity that we do with the children, and again with the family, with the parents. Okay, I don't know. I hope I'm not talking too fast or accent and everything. Okay, so the highlights I just going to summarize it because of the time, but it has been a really nice experience. The program has been welcomed not only by the farmers but also by the workers. From the farmer side, I think they acknowledge the need for the training to be trained in language and also the interactive activities. We did a focus group with survey with them, and they just showed that they're really excited about the difference that this training makes, only because again the being in Spanish and interactive and all that, and building that communication. The farm workers, it's the same thing. They have been very receptive and engaged. It is amazing how, we had got to train, and I sometimes also help Luis with big groups, because again, the activities, you will see that the workers relax and they have fun, but they are also learning. So that's to me is one of the highlights. You can go with the next one. This is just to share with you a little bit of the outcomes in regards to numbers. This is from last year to the calendar year 2015. In Wayne County, we trained 640 workers, tobacco workers, and then 94 non-tobacco workers, for a total of 734. We conducted 26 sessions, and the reason why you will see ULT is because we did a partnership with the Universal Leaf Tobacco Company, because we provide training to 3 groups of workers for them, and that was in another county, but it was just a collaboration, but we also get some funding to help us with the Farmworkers Festival. Farmers involved last year in this county were 43 growers. Community events, there were 6 with a average participant of 205. 91 being youth. We also conduct a drive, a lawn church, because as you know, for them, protection is a big issue, and sometimes that is something that they don't have. So we collected 450, and that's something that we do here in the college. Has been we have had really good response from the staff here. Then the Farmworkers Festival, as I mentioned, is just a health festival where we bring workers. We have participation of different community agencies. We have health screen, dental screen, so screening. And then we also had music and dancing and food and all that. So it's a really fun day for them. And the last one is the about the members to the coalition. Like you can see, had 21 organizations, very active. In the other program in Allegheny and Ashe County, which is actually the mountains part, the data here is less because this is from last year. This is a new program, and this is in partnership with the North Carolina Farm Worker Health Program. So their focus is in health access care, but we do the educational part. So as of November, actually, we should have changed this because as of today, actually, we have like 420 workers trained, and you see 60 farmers involved and family events. So. And this is just few pictures of, this is Luis, our educator. You can see the settings, the material use. The next one. Yeah, the pictures are, we always say that Luis is not that short, it's just that the pictures kind of are not that good. This is one of the family events that we did. It was in a mobile home park where most of the workers are, tenants are farm workers, so we did a family event with the participation of the parents, participation of the youth, the children. Actually, the crew leader, did you see the first picture on the left? The guy leaning on the car, he's the crew leader. And he actually provide drinks and some food for the families. And this is picture from the mountains area. This is a Christmas tree production. The right picture is Veronica, is our educator there. So I hope that we didn't have to run too much, but that's what we wanted to share. So we now can love to discuss. I hear from you comments, questions, ideas.
So we're a small group. I think if anybody has questions, you're free to just ask them if you've got a mic, or you can type a question into the chat box.
So do they need to turn their microphone on at the top of their screen?
Yeah, if you've got a mic, you can just click at the top and activate your mic and talk, or if you want, just type in the chat box, whichever works for you.
And Cynthia's looking up the Toolkit website, so.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, if you can just drop that into the chat box, that way it'll be part of the recording as people come back and view it. So you've got one.
Expand on the Christmas tree training. Yeah, so we are funded by the Department of Health and Human Services, the Office of Rural Health. And so they had some kind of leftover innovation funds. We've worked with them before in blueberry, mostly blueberry production farm worker training in the eastern part of the state. But they have, Cynthia's been involved with their program for, I don't know, 10, 12 years and has a strong partnership. So they came to us and they said, we want to fund worker training up in Allegheny and Ashe counties in kind of northwestern, not far west, North Carolina. And it was a good opportunity to do some training to expand. Most of their stuff they do is they work with farm workers, they meet with farm workers, do kind of health referral forms and try to get them scheduled for visits for healthcare, whether doctors or visits. And this is an expansion of that, and it's kind of an education component to go with that. It's been really interesting in North Carolina because we had tremendous difficulty hiring a Spanish-speaking educator that was qualified in that part of the state. So we had a lot of applicants who thought the job was in Raleigh, and we had to explain, no, this is 3 hours from Raleigh in the northwestern part of the state. And so it was delayed many months. So that's another huge issue. I would say the biggest benefit kind of our Eastern North Carolina training is just to find a really excellent trainer. He used to be a farm worker himself. He's also a crew leader. His family is crew leaders, and so has had tremendous experience in the kind of the farm worker field from a practical standpoint. So finally, we were able to locate Veronica in Western North Carolina for the Christmas tree production, and she has an educator background also, and so has been really able to jump right in and been a great kind of worker in the program and partner with our local extension offices. She's passionate about health, and she's passionate about farm workers, and she's passionate about agriculture. So she's really been able to bring those components together to be a good partner with our extension agents in that part of the state. eggs. Okay, so
Can you see it?
can you email it to me real quick, and I will paste it in. So we're getting ready to paste in the website for the toolkit. So just give us just a second. Any other questions? Did that answer your questions, Crystal, on the Christmas tree? That program's actually going to end June 30th. We were hoping to extend it for another year or 2 or 3, but the Office of Rural Health really wants to focus on healthcare access more than education right now, so they're trying to partner with us to continue to do the education component of it. They hire more healthcare access workers, so we're kind of negotiating what that might look like in a way that would really work for extension, because we don't want to just bring their personnel onto farm and take up our farmers' time with them doing their health assessments and not providing education that also benefits the farmers. So really finding a way that would be a win-win for our farmers and also increase the health of the farm workers, if that makes sense. Okay, so let me pull this out of email and let Cynthia talk while I do this.
I just want to mention how, yes, this is grant funded. However, we think that even if we don't have grant money, even if we don't have an educator, to go and implement the program, it's possible to, the way to implement this program will be by developing partnerships. I think again that extension have we have a really good resources. We assets to bring to the table when it is, when thinking about educating farm workers. So I just want to stress the idea again, this partnering with the local resources is another option to do this. I understand that we have to be careful about, collaboration opportunities. We want to protect the growers who are our partners also, but it's a matter of creating that opportunities for everybody. It's about, conversation, communications.
So, Krista, do you mean mainly for the Christmas trees or for the tobacco or both? Okay.
Yeah. Something that we can have to keep in mind is, before I answer to that, is that when we think about farm workers, there are three groups. In North Carolina, the main labor comes from H-2A workers, which are the ones that come with a visa. But then we also have what they call, what is identified as migrant workers, and those are workers that just move to the area when the work is available, and those are the ones that usually come with a crew leader. And the crew leader is the one contacting it or making relationship with the growers. But we also have those who are seasonal workers, who are those that maybe they live in the area, but during the peak season, they do work with in the crop. In the area where we had the Christmas tree industry and we had the educator, they have workers from the three different groups. We have, again, those H-2A, those who move from Georgia to here, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. That's what they do. And so, but we have the seasonals who are here year round. So our focus is mainly to target or to try to reach out for them or train them when they're here. In some cases, that means the peak season, yes, because that's where they are here. But because our training is conducted in collaboration with the grower, that hasn't been an issue. I hope that I'm clear, it makes sense what I'm saying. Is that yes, we do the training during the peak season. In North Carolina for Christmas is between August and November. That is when we had more workers coming to work in the Christmas tree season. So even though it's a peak season, we still manage to do the training during that time because it's in partnership with the growers. We try to do the training earlier in the as much of early in the season as possible. And again, it is possible that the growers are very open to that. The thing that we had to also be careful is that the educator has to be very flexible in the schedule. Sometimes this is not something that you say, okay, let me have a calendar and the grower will write the name. No, sometimes the educator get a call from the grower saying, okay, can you come tomorrow?
If it's rainy.
Because it's rainy or because something happening, in the farm, whatever. So the worker will be available. So being flexible is very important. But again, the training here in North Carolina for Christmas trees is August to November. And it could be any day during the week, including weekends. And they last 1 hour. Usually, I want to say that most of the trainings are earlier in the morning, but it's not all the time. I mean, maybe the majority they are, but we can have it through the day. Even the ones from tobacco, we had to have a training at 7 p.m. Maybe a couple, but no, but yeah, it's about being flexible and working with growers. So you can say, okay, you have an educator, 1 year educator, and you have only 4 months of peak season. Well, that's why we had the other components. That's why we do for the off season when the workers are not in town. We focus on those who are seasonal, meaning the ones that are in the area, but also we focus on the family engagement, family education, and the partnership development and the other and support of extension programs.
Okay, how is the local educator agent involved? That's a great question. So my computer just went to sleep. So we've had an excellent partnership in Wayne County. So Wayne County is the eastern part of the state, and this is one where we have the most time to really partner with our local agents. So we have a young tobacco agent out there. He really took Luis under his wing. He went and introduced him to all of his growers, and he would take him on his farm visits for 2 or 3 months to help him kind of meet the grower community, develop a rapport with the grower community. Because again, as Cynthia said earlier, a lot of these trainings happen by advocacy groups that the farmers really see as farm worker advocates that may not be advocates also for them. And we were trying to come in from kind of a different frame of, we are advocates for farm workers and we're also advocates for you, the grower. And so we're trying to create a win-win for you. And we want you to see us as a resource. And so we spent, I would say 2 to 4 months with really one-on-one time between our local extension agent and our trainer, just going from farm to farm. And we had 3 years to develop that program, so we had time to do that. In the western part of the state, with our Christmas tree program, we didn't have as much time for the educator to go around, but she's from the community and knew a lot of the people in the community already, and so she had already developed a lot of those relationships and she was, I think, a good fit for extension in terms of working with the agents and with the county director. And so that worked pretty seamlessly, although there really wasn't the one-on-one time for her to go around with the agents on their farm visits as much.
Just to add to that, something that has been really helpful to us, not just with the Farm Workers program, but for other programs that are involved, is that whenever we have an opportunity, to bring a program to their county, we meet with the extension people first, because we really want the buy-in from them. Especially in this case, the agriculture agent is crucial. And in one way, you think this model is different from what they are used to do. So that's why we really need to be sure that they understand what it is about, why it's important, but also how much we need their collaboration and partnership. And again, in these 3 counties, the agriculture agents have been wonderful. At the beginning, they were a little bit skeptical, but again, having those meetings prior to, even in the early stages of planning and all that, having them involved, has been really, really helpful. We haven't had any issue with working with them.
Yeah, and the growers are, now coming to us wanting training, and so they begin to, expand their idea of what extension can offer in this field. And I think it's the ag agents have really felt that this program, was credible. It fit well in with the extension's model, and so they were really able to offer it to their growers as an additional service. Any other questions? Well, thank you. Thank you for joining today. And for all those who watch the recording, if you have questions, you're welcome to email us. Our emails are not on here. Both of us are just our first name underscore our last name at ncsu.edu.
You could just drop those in the chat box and they'll be recorded. That might be great.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. So thanks to both of you. I really appreciate your thoughtful presentation and great sharing of resources. Appreciate you also putting the link in there. I'm sure people will enjoy having the opportunity to explore those. So thanks for those who joined us, and we'll look forward to coming back again with our May session. So just stay tuned for that, and we again appreciate Susan and Cynthia for your time.
Sorry about the strange caps locks. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.